I think we should be good to go now.
All right. Let
Let's
me
see.
see. Yeah, my audio is being picked up. I know that for sure.
There we go. Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Little technical difficulties in the house. Happens. Super excited to have Forex here with us. Welcome to Player One Signals. For those of you guys that are new, if you're not new, welcome back. It's been a minute. We had an AMA that we did Forex on the Animal Farm a few weeks back before the drop, the layer
Yeah.
2 drop. That was incredible. A lot of insight was given. Now the hype on, Piggy Bank and this incredible, new, can we call it, is it a layer? Is it a, new protocol that's being dropped on top of the Animal Farm platform that you are just super excited about? We're all excited to hear more about it. So I'll kind of let you, start. Do you want to just go over the white paper? You want me to bring it up?
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Okay,
So,
cool.
I just published the white paper like 10 minutes before jumping on this interview. Um, the piggy bank, you could call it an additional layer. Basically, I'm just calling it a new utility that's being added to the animal farm. So basically, with the animal farm, there's two primary assets. There's the dog token and there's the pig token. The dog token acts as the farm reward token and also as the vehicle that allows you to earn more pigs without putting additional capital into the system. So it allows you to essentially earn yield from your existing assets on the platform. Now, the pigs token is the governance token. It's the token that, when staked, represents your share ownership of the platform. And as the platform grows, all of the deposit fees and taxes associated with the underlying assets generate BUSD rewards that go to people that are staking the pig token. So when a BUSD reward is generated, 30% of it gets automatically paid out to people in the pig pen. The other 70% goes into a vault, and 3% of this vault is paid out daily to members of the pig pen. Now, this 3% daily payout is designed to be time weighted. And what I mean by that is it's paying out a relatively small percentage of its balance. And because of this, the balance continues to accumulate and the amount of BUSD in the vault continues to grow. So every day, the 3% of the vault balance that's being paid out is getting larger and larger and larger. And as the farm grows and as the amount of underlying, locked collateral on the farm grows, the size of the payout in the pig pen will also grow. And this is the long-term play on the farm. It allows you to be a owner of the farm and benefit as an owner of the farm. Now, this value is people are earning on it every day. They're growing their share ownership of it every day. But this is a longer term play. We know that a good portion of people in crypto, and especially in yield farms, do not have a long-term perspective on how they want to manage their capital in the farm. A lot of them are looking for a short-term return on their capital.
Yeah, we
They want to
saw
get in and
that.
out.
I saw 25,000 people at least, man, within the first couple hours of the launch of Animal Farm Layer 2. And it seemed to me like a lot of people were confused because they were expecting this overnight, 100x Lamborghinis the next day when Lambo comments. And I think the majority of the basis of the community that's been there, right, from the start, that were attached to Drip and then obviously went through the first cycle of the Animal Farm, the first layer, it seems like they really understood that this is a long-term project and, kind of combating these newer folks that are so that have their mindset on quick gains. So this introduces
Yeah.
this is basically hardening the concept of long term with the Animal Farm, essentially bringing that
Yeah,
even a
well,
step further.
with the piggy bank, so you're absolutely right. So we had something like 25 or 30,000 people in the Telegram group, the Animal Farm Telegram group. When we launched, within a week from launch, we have 60,000 people in there. Yeah. So an extra 30,000 additional investors came in, and most of them found out about us because we're trending on Dex Tools and these other places. They've never heard of me. They didn't read the white paper. They know nothing about the project. So they're in here just, looking to get in and out, short-term gains. And they don't realize, because they didn't, do their research, a lot of them, right, the powerful opportunity that they have in the pig pen as the platform grows. And they're used to these other projects that aren't long-term projects that won't continue to develop and won't continue to innovate. So they're on these other projects that don't continue to develop, don't continue to innovate or add to their ecosystem. They know, I need to make my profit in the first 3 days, or this is over.
Right.
Where
right.
with the animal farm is completely different, because we specifically designed the reward payout structure to be over time to people that are in it for the long term. But we do recognize that there's a large share of the investor base that want to see a short-term play on the animal farm, and the piggy bank is this opportunity for people to have a higher risk, but faster payout type of investment vehicle, but it still has elements to it that allow people that are in it for the long term to benefit. So this is for people that are thinking, well, I'm getting paid out 3% of the vault. Yeah, in the next 6 months, this is going to pay out huge. And, I can see that, but I'm looking to start making an immediate ROI today. And the piggy bank allows you to earn up to 3% ROI a day, very similar to the drip garden, which has proven to be extremely successful. But it has a harvest time locking element for the people that are prepared to be in it for the long haul, to really benefit and to really outplay those that are in it for the short-term flip. So the drip garden was a protocol that we designed because we saw the demand for games like Shrimp Farmer, B&B Miner, these projects that allow you to earn a high daily ROI. And we had a lot of outcry or whatever you want to call it, built up demand in the community to launch something like this for drip. But I wasn't going to launch just a clone or a fork of Shrimp Farmer or B&B Miner, because there were mechanics built into these projects that just weren't sustainable, and they were also, I would say, unfair. So B&B Miner, Shrimp Farmer, they're exactly the same underlying contracts. If you look at B&B Miner, you see in the contracts they're talking about eggs, they're talking about shrimps, and it's literally just a copy. They didn't even change the names of the assets in the contract.
Right. Now,
so when I speak about one, I'm speaking about both. The way that those contracts work are, you need to add an additional starting capital to kick off the contract, and this initial capital that's added to kick off the contract is done by developers or insiders. It by definition needs to be done before the contract is publicly available to everybody, because that's what kicks off the contract. And when this initial capital was deposited, they end up getting about 90% of the buying power. So they put in less than 10% of the capital in the contract and end up with 90+% of, if it's Shrimp Farmer, the shrimps, if it's B&B Miner, the miners, if it's the drip garden, it would be the plants, however you want to theme it. Mm-hmm. So starting out with, and the way that these contracts work are, the miners mine tokens for you every day, the amount of miners you have, the amount of miners that you own represent the amount of sellable assets you earn every day. So in well, let's just use let's use shrimp farmer for example. The shrimp, when you buy into the system, you're buying shrimp. These shrimp are not sellable assets. They represent how many eggs are being generated a day. The eggs are what is the sellable asset.
Gotcha.
So with drip garden, it would be when you buy into the garden, you're buying plants.
Right.
These plants then produce a specific amount of seeds every day, and these seeds are what are can either be compounded or sold. With Shrimp Farmer, BNB Miner, these games, that initial capital that was added ended up buying 90+% of the miners, 90+% of the shrimp, and it creates a situation where it doesn't matter how much capital you put in after it, you can never get as many plants, or not even close to as many plants, not even 10% of the plants that the initial insiders got on their initial deposit. And then once this is compounded, it creates a situation where those insiders, if they choose to, which they have in every case, except for Drip Garden because we did away with this mechanic,
right,
are able to drain the vast majority of capital from the system as it comes in. And the investors to come in, at any point after that initial deposit can never keep up, and the contract inevitably gets drained.
So
now with
what I saw Forex
with the drip
with the drip garden, real quick, what I saw was that there were a particular amount of plants that basically went into your LP, so that made an LP. So I think like last time I checked, it was like 6 plants made up like 1 LP. I don't know where it's at right now. Yeah. That fluctuates, right, up and down based on how many people are getting in. And what that basically means, right, was when I got into it, I think it was like 2 plants made up an LP. I got into it day one, whatever it was, day one. And then I did notice, and I was wondering, why that mechanic was there. But the reason why you're making it more plants, right, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but per LP, is to make it fair for new people. Because just like you said, they would never be able to catch up to obtain the amount of plants that the day one people got if you weren't kind of fluctuating that. Is that correct? Is that said right?
Yeah, there's several mechanics that we did to make it fair and make it sustainable. For one, this initial capital that's added that ends up to get the contract kickstarted, we used an artificial starting balance. So that initial capital to get it started that would otherwise be buying 90+% of the plants, we did it using a type of artificial deposit to kind of trick the contract into thinking we deposited. So this dropped down the initial buying power of the first person to enter way down to make it so they got about the same as everyone else that got in after them, instead of having the initial deposit be from the developer that ends up getting 90+% of the plants. So just starting off, it made the initial buying power of the first capital to come in about equal with everyone that gets in after them. Then, so the plants is the price of plants is determined based on the amount of existing plants that are in circulation and the contract balance, meaning the amount of LP on the contract. Now, the plants are not the sellable asset. The seeds are. So the plants just determine how many seeds you'll be able to generate. And the plants, the amount of plants in circulation is constantly increasing. And with this plant count constantly increasing, and also the multipliers that we put on capital as it enters, new capital coming in, using a contract balance multiplier and a time multiplier, ensures that the price that new capital is coming in, is paying for plants is about the same as anybody else that came in before them. And then those plants start producing seeds, and these seeds are what are the sellable assets. So some people have asked, someone that's been in the garden for however long, like 4 months, they're saying, the amount of plants keeps increasing. Is this diluting the value of my plants?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no, because plants are not the sellable asset.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to worry about the USD value of your plants
Mm-hmm.
because you can never sell your plants. What's important is the USD value of the seeds. And the USD value of the seeds is always increasing if the contract balance is increasing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the price of plants going down as more of them are created makes it so it's fair for new capital to come in, because the amount of plants that they're able to buy, when you include the contract balance multiplier and the time multiplier, is going to be about the same amount of plants as someone that got in a month ago or 2 months ago.
Right.
So it flattens this buying power curve, and it ensures that it's always attractive for new capital to come in. And because of this, what we've seen is the contract balance for the drip garden is at all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had we've had instances where the contract balance has reduced because when we launched the farm, that took a bit of attention away from it. When we launched L2, that took some attention away from it. But what we see is, as the contract balance reduces, the price, the exchange rate for new capital coming in becomes more attractive. The contract balance multiplier stays the same. If the contract balance increases, the buying power of new capital increases through the contract balance multiplier. But if the contract balance reduces, the contract balance multiplier doesn't reduce. So it remains attractive for new capital to come in. And the time multiplier that is increasing buying power of new capital coming in by 0.1% every day continues to increase. And even if the contract balance is being reduced because people are withdrawing faster than they're compounding and faster than they're depositing, it takes a very short amount of time before it becomes so attractive for new capital to come back in that the second wave or third wave or fourth wave of capital comes back in. The contract balance hits new all-time highs. This increases the contract balance multiplier, which makes it even more attractive for new capital to come in. And this is why we've seen new all-time highs on the contract balance of the drip garden. We're now like 4 months or probably 5 months into it. And if you look at BNB Miner, if you look at Shrimp Farm, if you look at any of these games, they go up. They have that initial hype wave. The contract balance grows. It increases. Once it starts to slow down, what happens is the insiders, which are usually the developers, realize this and they say, okay, now it's time for me to start taking profit. Mm-hmm. And once they start taking profit, it's all over because they own 90% or plus, if they've been compounding, of everything in the system. Now it starts draining at a very fast rate, and there's no mechanics to make it attractive for new capital to come in because they're not getting any additional multiplier. They're not getting a fair plant rate or whatever, a shrimp rate or miner rate, whatever you want to call it in their theming. And
I remember the wave. There was a wave of that. You remember Forex? There was a wave of that, man, where you had, it was every type of miner you could think of, right? Miner, BNB miner, all these miners. And I remember getting into a few of them. And you're absolutely right. That's exactly what happened. It mooned. You make all this money and you think, oh, God, this is never going to end. This is going to be great. And then, less than a month later, they seem to just kind of taper off. It was so that's because, like you said, making it attractive for new capital is so incredibly important because people want to feel like they're in at the ground floor. Let's be honest, right? We don't want to feel like we're late because then that makes it to where nobody wants to put their money in. So that's what you did here. And I've seen, I was in on day 1, minute 1, hour 1, whatever. I was in on, the garden that second, man. And I've just been compounding mainly. I think I started out with 3,000 plants. Now I'm up to 7,400. My goal is 10,000. And I'm just going to keep compounding. And anything that I take from here, I've been, just kind of going over to the farm and just depositing it in the drip BUSD. And
Yeah.
I did sell
I
a
know a
little.
lot of people are using that strategy.
Yeah, and because I hate selling drip, man, I hate it. I'm
Yeah.
also in drip, obviously, and so I just hate selling it. But I sold a little bit to get into the dogs, Wrap B&B, just because the APR was attractive, and then I got a bunch
Yes.
over here in the dogs BUSD. But so the ecosystem that you're building, it seems very fair to me, and I think a lot of people with a little bit shorter term mindset, we'll just say, maybe they didn't expect to kind of wait as long, but been building it up in the pig pen. And so this is kind of one element, right, that you took away, the drip garden, you took away to kind of factor it in, just to get back to Piggy over here, the bank, right? And so which part of that is all of those elements sort of in here? Which part of that is in this? Are you saying the part where it kind of has this auto mechanic to make it fair for new capital, or
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, when this craze of all the miner games were coming up, this is when we had a crazy demand on us to make one for drip and for our platforms. But I wasn't willing to just copy some unfair protocol and launch it into our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent some time to develop it and make it so it would be sustainable and it would be fair. And the analytics show this very well. We've outperformed all of these other miner and shrimp farmer games by tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
And we continue to outperform them in a way that really it shows how different we are.
You're in a league
from
of
a
your own,
fundamental
brother.
standpoint.
You're definitely in a league of your own.
Thank you. So the elements of the piggy bank that we brought over from the drip garden, yes, you're right. We brought over the same mechanics that allow it to be extremely fair and extremely sustainable. And what we adjusted are the multiplier functions. So we still have the same mechanic that ensures that the buying power of new capital coming in is always attractive by handling the exchange rate of plants and increasing the supply of plants as it goes. And again, this is the increasing of plants is that's something that is both attractive to existing members and for people that are newly getting in, because for existing members, you can't sell your plants anyways. So the dilution of plants doesn't matter. All it means is if you're going to compound, you're going to get more plants for your money, and this increase in plants that you now own will produce more seeds for you. And seeds are the sellable asset. And as long as the contract balance is growing, your value is increasing.
And Forex, if I just may add there, man, the way I look at it, and I think a lot of people need to look at this way, tell me if you think this is right, but I would much rather take sustainability over some pump and dump sort of growth, any day. And so if that's what makes it sustainable, which it clearly is, right, then that's the celebration right there. Because as a long-term mindset, trader myself, an investor, it's hard to find projects that last, that stand the test of time. And this is DeFi. It's a fairly new market, right? So fast forward 2 years from now, you're trying to develop things that, you're looking, how far out do you look, Forex? A year, 2 years, 5 years?
I ain't sure if I develop something, it never has a terminal point where it no longer becomes attractive. Whenever I develop something, it can't have, unless it's specifically designed this way, unless it's specifically designed such as the Mana Farm, where we're saying, all right, this is going to last 2 weeks. Or something like that.
Gotcha.
But if it doesn't have a specific point where it's supposed to end and it's made very clear that it's going to end on this date, I always build something with the mind state of how this needs to be something that can continue essentially forever, and that we can continue to build on to make it more attractive and evolve it over time. If it doesn't have the ability to evolve with the times, then I'm not interested in building it.
I also see something that you do that's very unique, just to point it out, and there's very few projects do this, which is, there's few things that you can develop in crypto where everybody wins. You can wrap your arms around your friends, your family, and say, okay, I'm going to take you with me. And I really feel that this is one of the few projects out there where, everybody has a chance to win. And I think that's pretty fair to say, right? Because, if you're in this long term, and even the Piggy Bank, let's say Drip Garden, even, any of these, Drip, the whole ecosystem, you're not losing anything. You may not have rocket shipped up 100x like you might have thought in the first 24 hours, right? And dumped on everyone, like some people do. But you sure as hell, you're not complaining at the same time, because the sustainability is there. So what would you say to somebody, I want to hear from you too, and I want to get back to this, but what would you say to somebody who kind of bought, they're down a little bit in dogs, they're down a little bit in that initial pump because they thought, it was going to 100x, whatever. What would you say to them about what's coming here with the Piggy Bank, and what would you say to that person? Because I know I've gotten that a lot, from people that are just like, hey, what do I do? And I'm like, hey, compound, hold. This is long term. The price doesn't just go down; it goes up and down, and so you're gonna have these waves. But what would you say?
I would say look at any of my projects. When I build my projects, I build them to reward the participants of the platform, no matter what the price is doing. And if we keep the price relatively stable, then you're going to walk away with a larger ROI than any other investment vehicle that's available in the space. And this is because we pay out a higher daily ROI and a higher APY than any other sustainable project in the space. So there's other projects that may claim that they pay out a higher ROI or a higher APY. None of them are sustainable over the long term. We've proven that our protocols are able to maintain stability. So when I develop a project, it is with the intention to have price appreciation, but with the understanding that if we can just keep price stable, then people are going to make massive compound interest, and people are going to walk away. If they have a long-term perspective, they're going to walk away with massive profits. Now, if you look at any of my previous projects, all of them have had a major hype pump at listing. They then have a 60% correction, 50% correction, whatever it is, a couple weeks after launch. This finds a bottom, and then we build up from there. And, very shortly, within, at least a couple months has been the longest, really. We hit new all-time highs, and those people that were in the project as we found the bottom and built up and we're accumulating and earning an ROI in this phase, when we cement that bottom and start to build from there, those are the ones that are the whales in the ecosystem that really reap the benefits of the growth of, once that system really does start to kick off. So, there's a ton of hype around all the projects I launch. Whenever this happens, there's a lot of people that are just looking to take advantage of this hype. So they get in big at launch, and then they try to take profit within the first week or two. We've already been past that phase, and now we're in the phase of cementing the bottom and continuing to grow from here. Now, the dynamic supply control algorithm has done its job very well. It moved the emission rate down to restricted, which means that the supply is now restricted. Once we saw this tick down to restricted, we saw that the price stopped bleeding out, and we started to stabilize. This is exactly what it's supposed to do. And keep in mind that we're stabilized while paying out 600, 800% APY,
yeah, crazy, and
BUSD dividends. So what the piggy bank is designed to do now is create an opportunity for those who don't have a long-term perspective in the animal farm and don't want to accumulate their pigs to put in the pig pen with the thought of, I'm going to accumulate my share of the ownership. So in the next 6 months or in the next year, I'm going to have a massive seat at the owner table when there is, 50 million, 100 million in the pig pen vault. This is for people that are farming, they are accumulating their dogs, they're accumulating their pigs, but don't see the long-term value. So instead of putting their pigs in the pig pen, they're selling them. Or instead of using their dogs to farm more pigs, they're selling them. This is an opportunity for them to, instead of sell them for that immediate flip, put them in the pig pen where they're going to earn up to 3% ROI a day. And this is, this is instead of leaving it up to the growth of the platform and them thinking, maybe they're not sure if the platform will grow, whatever is holding them back from wanting to get in to the long-term play. This is an opportunity to make up to 3% a day starting day one as soon as you deposit it into the piggy bank. Yeah. Now, the piggy bank has the same mechanics as the drip garden, whereas we start off with an artificial balance that allows for the initial buyers to get about the same rate as someone that comes in a couple weeks after. But instead of a contract balance multiplier and a time multiplier, we have a harvest lockup multiplier. So is there any way you could pull up the white paper?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I have it up right now, brother. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So let me just...
I'm on the multiplier right now.
Okay, so let's just start at the top. Okay, so instead of me just picking apart no problem. a couple mechanics, we just start from the top. So let's start with the piggy bank, where it says the piggy bank is the first ever non-inflationary variable time staking annuity.
Yep.
And at first we were considering calling it a game, like the drip garden game.
Yeah, you were saying that you stopped calling it a game, right?
Yeah, because I see this as something that is has a lot more potential and could have a lot more impact on the space than a game. And also, I'm in the process of developing some games that a 5-year-old will look at and recognize as a game. Something like this, something like the drip garden or the piggy bank. You can call it a game because there is that game theory there where you are directly competing against the other people in the contract as a type of game of chicken, where if you're compounding at a greater rate than other players in the game, you're going to get the highest possible daily ROI. And this does have a game theory that does have an element of competition. So you could call it a game, and I see why some people would use that type of naming, but
language, yeah.
But I see it as being more powerful than a game, and also I want to save that game titling for when we launch an actual game where it's like real fun balance mechanics.
Just some alpha right there. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually in. So we have 2 games that we're in the process of developing, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that after this.
Snap!
But,
yeah, love it. Okay.
So, anyways, the reason why I'm calling this a variable time staking annuity, a non-inflationary, is because an annuity is a type of investment vehicle where you lock up your capital for a period of time, and you get an agreed upon ROI on it, or agreed upon APY. And this is exactly that kind of mechanic where you're locking up capital and you're agreeing that you won't harvest your profit on it until your time stake is over. And for agreeing to this, you get essentially a guaranteed or a locked in rate of return.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's other protocols that have an element of time locking. I reference Hex in this white paper because I know a lot of people in the community know about Hex and understand the mechanics of Hex, and I wanted to juxtapose our mechanics to something that people already understand in the space that has an element of time locking.
Right, where you get rewarded. Now, real quick, on that time lock, you get rewarded for the length of time, right? And with Hex, and if you sell early, you kind of get dinged. Does that have that same kind of concept here?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So the difference, there are many differences between Hex and the Piggy Bank, but one of the differences is, so with Hex, when you time lock, you essentially get a bonus, and this bonus is added onto your stake at the end. So with Hex, it's something like a 20% bonus that you get for time locking for a year. And what this does is, whatever your principal is when you time lock in Hex, you get a 20% bonus on that principal at the end of your stake if you time lock for the whole year. So if you lock up $100, for example, at the end of the year, you get about a 40% APY, and then you get an additional $20. So you end up walking away with like $180 for time locking for a year. Now, I think one of the reasons why Hex has started to fade a bit is because this APY is, it's basically on par with what you can get in some higher risk traditional markets. Mm-hmm. And if you're taking risk in the DeFi space, like a space that is growing at such a rate and is really breaking ground and innovating, you can get a much higher APY and a much higher ROI sustainably than what is available in Hex, for example. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why the APY and the ROI is so low in Hex is due to the centralization of it. The fact that 80+% of the total supply is held by one guy. 60+% of all the rewards that are paid out is going to one account, and basically all of the stakes, I don't want to say all of the stakes, but virtually almost all of the stakes that are going over 5+ years are held by the same entity, right? The developer. Right. And this is where the vast majority of rewards are going to. Mm-hmm. Now, if those rewards are never sold on the market, that's fine. They're just being removed from circulation. Mm-hmm. But it does greatly reduce the APY or the rewards that are paying out to existing members. And we see, I'm not here to talk about Hex, but we see that they were actually, in the Pulse raise, those Hex that were going to the developer were actually applied to the market in a way that did affect current holders, right? The Pulse raise was extremely diluted. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about
right. But no, I think we all understand it's very centralized type of mentality with Hex for sure.
Yeah, and that has that's one of the reasons that the APY is so low. And if it wasn't the case, you could get a much higher APY and a much higher ROI sustainably. There's a bunch of other mechanics such as inflation and a non-linear bonus for staking, or a linear bonus for staking longer, and other mechanics that could be massively improved upon as well that we did go ahead and improve. So the Piggy Bank is not paying out the bonus or the daily ROI through inflation. It uses a model that is the same as the Drip Garden, where it's taking the cash flow that is coming into it, and it's then distributing that cash flow out in a sustainable and fair way. It's not doing it by minting additional tokens to pay out this reward. And because of this, we're not tacking on that APY to the end. We're applying the or the bonus to the end. We're applying this bonus multiplier to the principal of the person who is time locking. And this is so much more powerful because it now increases your principal that you're earning the ROI on, which can then be compounded, and it basically puts jet fuel on your ability to earn compound interest, as opposed to taking some percentage of your principal and just paying you out that at the end. We needed to do it this way for two reasons. One, because if you have a system where you're not minting tokens, then you don't want to have a system where you're guaranteeing some specific token payout at the end of the stake, because you never want to build a system that has even the possibility of defaulting on divs that are supposed to be paid out. When you apply it to the buying power or the principal, it increases the amount of ROI that can earn in a way that cannot default. There's no possibility that the capital that it says you're supposed to be earning in the system is not payable in the end. We're adding it to the principal in a way that ensures whatever APY or whatever claimable divs that have built up that you're that are made available to you are claimable at the end. And in order to do this, you can't give a specific token amount that is going to be paid out at the end of the stake. And this is you wouldn't want that for several reasons anyways. For one, because if the contract balance grows and the whole system grows, and you're giving a specific token amount that you're supposed to get as a bonus at the start of your stake, and then in an inflationary system, that say you're supposed to get paid out 10 tokens at the end of your stake a year from now, but a year from now the supply of the underlying asset has 2x or 3x, this 10 token bonus that you got is now worth substantially less by the time it gets to the end of your stake. We apply it to your principal, and this now allows you to earn a greater compound interest, and it makes it way more attractive for people to stake for longer and for to continue to compound in the system and continue to grow your share of the system and add additional capital to the system. So we're doing a higher APY and a higher ROI than any of these type of time locking protocols that have a time locked harvest mechanic, because we're doing it that in a manner that isn't powered by inflation. It isn't diluting the APY, and it's completely decentralized. So a huge portion of these dividends are not going to one entity, which then can either drain the system or just greatly reduce the APY that's going to everybody else. We're using the same mechanics that decentralized and made the drip garden more fair and more sustainable, but we're greater incentivizing people to stake longer and people to essentially give their pledge that they're not going to unstake until their whatever date they claimed they would lock for. So we have a high APY. We're not doing it through inflation. Our rewards are not diluted through centralization, where the majority of rewards are going to one or a handful of entities, which is something that we see in both all of the existing shrimp farmer, BNB miner type of games, and something we see in all of the time lock, time harvest type of projects as well. So it's taking the best of the time locked harvest mechanics and the best of the drip garden to create something that's new and doing it in a way that is extremely rewarding and sustainable, because we're taking the mechanics that have proven to be sustainable in our existing projects and just adding and evolving them.
Right. You saw what didn't work. You saw what's out there. You learned from it. You adapted, and you created something that is more sustainable. And you fixed those issues that ultimately ruin those projects. But from what I see, you're using the power of what you've seen in the past and applying it to this amazing new Frankenstein of a project, and it's amazing. But it's really taken, when you say the best elements, it really is, man. That's really cool. And then it says linear bonus for longer staking. So this is one of the negatives on here. You were just going through the list.
Yeah. So a linear bonus for longer staking. For example, with Hex, you earn a 20% bonus for staking for a year. And if you stake for 2 years, you earn a 40% bonus. You stake for 3 years, you earn a 60% bonus. So it's linear. Whereas with our model, it is truly a longer pays better, because the bonus that you earn for staking longer is non-linear. Meaning, let me just give arbitrary values here. You stake for a year, you get a 40% bonus. You stake for 2 years, you get a 120% bonus. You stake for 3 years, you get a 600% bonus. And we have a max of 5-year staking. So we put a cap on it.
Wow.
To
where I'll be, first of all.
Yeah.
5 years, baby. I mean, why? I mean, why not? I'm going for the max reward. Sorry, I had to say it. I just had to say it. Sorry.
The beauty is that we added in a mechanic that allows for multiple stakes. So people can have multiple stakes from the same wallet with different time horizons.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can have your 1 year stake, your 2 year stake, and really your 5 year stake.
That's cool.
All in, all from one wallet.
Wow.
And this allows people to set up, convenient and advanced, payment reward models where they can essentially have one that acts as a type of paycheck for them, where maybe they're claiming or they're compounding once a month. So they're having their time lock for, once a month. So essentially, the way that our system works is when you time lock for, say, a month, you can take those dividends that are building up and compound them. This is another major benefit that we have that projects like Hex and Merit Circle and these other projects with time locking don't have. As your dividends are building, if you're time locked, you can compound them back into your principal.
Every day, Forex, or how often?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every day.
That's major, man.
We made another improvement on the drip garden. I'll get to that in a second, but yeah. So when you time lock for say a month, you can compound as often as you want in that month. At the end of the month, when that time lock is over, now you can decide, all right, I want to remain in the system and re-time lock it for a period, or you can decide to claim it, or you can decide that you want to continue to compound but not time lock it. So you don't have to time lock to take advantage of the system. You can get into the piggy bank with no time lock and earn the same as if you were earning in the drip garden, for example, up to 3% a day. But you can decide to time lock it, and if you decide to time lock it, you then get a bonus based on how long you time locked it for, and this bonus is added to your principal over time. So it increases your principal as the life of your time lock stake plays out, which then increases the ROI that you're making off your principal, which increases your compound interest, which then you can compound back into your principal. And it has a very powerful effect on your end result.
Yeah, I
so
imagine.
yeah, so
And
you
is
can
there a
have
fee for
multiple
doing that?
stakes.
Is there a fee for compounding? Just curious.
No fee for compounding at all. So
Wow, cool. Okay.
there's the same fee associated with the drip garden, which is essentially a 5% tax on deposits and withdrawals. And the reason why I say 5% is because it's an LP token. So the half that is BUSD pays for development. It pays for everything associated with building the ecosystem and maintaining the ecosystem. The other half, which is in the form of drip or in the form of pigs, goes back into the ecosystem. So for drip, we take the half that's in drip that comes from the developer fee, and 100% of that is put back into the system. That developer fee is not just going into the pocket of the developers. We take 100% of that drip and send it to the tax vault, which makes drip that much more sustainable, hardens the price of drip, makes drip more decentralized and more deflationary, and increases its ability to pay out divs into the future. With the pig pen, and this is some alpha,
Drop it, baby. Come on, we're ready.
So the pigs that is going to be generated from this deposit withdrawal fee is going to go into a lottery where you can buy tickets for the lottery in dogs and drip and get a chance to win pigs every day. So this is pigs that is not being minted,
Whoa.
that is not being
inflated
or emitted. So it's not increasing the supply of pigs, right? It's removing pigs from circulation and giving another utility for dog and another utility for drip. So we're going to use a model very similar to Pancake Swap's lottery model, where you can buy tickets, and these tickets once a day get called, and one of those tickets will win, and that ticket will win the pigs that have built up from the piggy bank, from the fee associated with the piggy bank. So we're taking the fee associated with the piggy bank and utilizing it to give more sustainability to both the pig token, but also more sustainability and new use cases to the dog and to the drip token. So this is another way how, when you see how the other projects use their dev fees, right? What they do is they pocket the BUSD or BNB and they dump the whatever token is on the other side of that. Or if it's not an LP token, they just get in their token that they then dump to pocket the money. We never do that. I never sell one of my own assets, and I learned this all the way back from when I launched Reap. When I launched Reap, I had bought something like $40,000 worth of Reap on my own after listing, and then I realized, what am I doing? I'm buying this token that I'm never going to sell. I'm just like donating money to my holders essentially.
Right.
And then with B-Reap, we had a pre-sale where there was a 10% dev fee on the tokens. So essentially, 10% of the tokens sold in the pre-sale went to the developer, which is myself and my partner. And then I realized, why did we put that dev fee on there? We're never going to sell these B-Reap. So it's like, you get the negative credit essentially for taking a fee that you're never going to cash in anyway. So we just realized, and that's why with drip, that's why with the animal farm, we never took a fee in our tokens because we realized we're never going to sell these tokens anyways. So that's the same with the piggy bank. All of the pigs that go towards the dev fee are going 100% back to creating more utility for the tokens, more sustainability through a lottery system. So that's going to be awesome. But anyways, because you asked about it, no, there's no fee at all on compounding. And this is powerful because it incentivizes people to compound rather than withdrawing and redepositing. So there's several mechanics here at play. For example, one question I got is, well, if you're getting a bonus multiplier for time locking, why wouldn't someone deposit, create a time lock? Now they get a bonus on their principal, and now instead of compounding those ROI that they're earning every day and putting it back into the system, why wouldn't they withdraw and then redeposit with another time lock to essentially earn another bonus on their bonus? And the answer for this is, once you've time locked, you can't withdraw until your stake is over. So that prevents that at all. And because there's no tax associated with compounding, and there's a relatively small tax associated with depositing and withdrawing. So it creates more incentive, and it stacks those incentives for compounding and keeping capital in the system relative to, playing, hot potato, jumping in and out of the contract all the time.
I got a quick question for you with the lottery.
Yeah.
I just can't help but think, what could someone potentially take home winning this random lottery? What are the numbers there? I'm just curious.
Okay, well, if I'm just gonna go based on Drip Garden. I would say it would likely. I believe it's going to be much larger than Drip Garden, but I would say somewhere around $250,000 every few weeks would be paid out in the lottery alone, and that's that's what I would say a bare minimum, right? That's like if it performs, if it underperforms Drip Garden, then yeah, that's like an extra $250,000, which will be paid out, probably once a week, somewhere around once a week, non-inflationary rewards that give additional value and additional use case to the underlying tokens. Now, I believe since we've greatly increased the protocol, and these are functions that don't exist in the Drip Garden and other mechanics, that we're going to greatly outperform it. So I see the rewards being much higher than that, but I like to give conservative estimates.
Right.
And this is keep in mind, this is just this is a bonus. This is
a bonus on top of the bonus, brother. My goodness.
Yeah, this
so
is
bullish.
This is something that we're doing to just create additional value, additional use case, and put those pigs to work. So we don't want these pigs going to like a dev wallet and just sitting there forever, right? Because they're not going to get sold. So we would much rather give them back out to the community than just hold them in a wallet forever.
Wow.
So, and because it's not coming from inflation, it's not coming from an increased supply, and because it's providing greater utility for the pigs token and the dog and drip token, it has a much more beneficial result in the end than what any kind of pigs payout would have negatively on the price of pigs, right? So I expect it to be extremely powerful, but let's so to continue with the Piggy Bank. So
keep going.
You can earn up to a 3% daily ROI on your principal. What this means is when the contract balance is at a high and you're compounding at an equal or greater rate than others in the system, you're going to be making about a 3% ROI. This is not including the time harvest bonus. So if you get into the system as someone that is not time locking, someone that just wants to put capital into the system and compound that capital in the system, you're going to earn about a 3% ROI. Now this is variable, and it's variable for the reason of allowing for sustainability. So if you are not compounding at a rate that is on par with other players in the game, your daily ROI is going to start to drop. And what this does is it ensures that those who are keeping capital in the system and who are allowing the system to grow get a larger payout than those that are just interested in draining the system. So this is another mechanic that really evens the playing field when it comes to fairness and sustainability. Now, the principal is increased through a time locking multiplier creating an extremely powerful opportunity for compound growth. And what this means is, say for locking up for a year, there's a 40% bonus.
Mm-hmm.
The way this works is this 40% bonus is applied to your principal over the life of the stake. So say you deposit $1,000. Now you're gonna get, or say you deposit, just to make it easy, not talking dollars. Say you deposit 1,000 tokens and you time lock for a year. This year gives you a 40% bonus for time locking. Now, so this is 400 tokens. Now, these 400 tokens are going to be added to your principal over the life of your time locked stake. So as you're compounding your interest as it grows, which increases your principal, allowing your daily ROI to increase, you're also having your bonus add to your principal every single day, which increases your ROI. And it's so much more powerful than a system like these other systems that do a time lock bonus, because having a 20% or a 40% bonus added to your initial starting principal at the end of your stake, it's like, oh, a big deal. Like, you know, I deposited 100 tokens, and at the end of a year, you give me an extra 20 tokens. It's
right.
like,
Yeah.
a big deal, right?
Right.
If I'm making compound interest anyways, why do I care about an extra 20 tokens at the end of the year?
For sure.
Yeah, what this does is it adds it to your principal, allowing you to then compound it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much more powerful. Now, we do have an early end staking ability where 100% of the penalty goes to those who do not emergency end stake. So unlike other projects where if someone emergency end stakes, they get penalized, and 60+% of that penalty ends up going to one entity, the developer or the owner of the system. And I'm not picking on Hex, because Hex isn't the only project to do this. Basically, every project that has some sort of time locking element does this. So, you know, I'm not picking on them.
Right.
But in our case, 100% of this penalty goes to those who have time locked and remain in the time lock for the entire length of their stake. And the way that the emergency end stake mechanic works is essentially if you've earned your principal back in your ROI, you can then emergency end stake and claim half of your principal. Now, essentially, you're out of the you're out of the game. You've ended that stake, and you were able to get back half of your principal. So it's really only something that would be like done in an actual emergency, because if you're going to time lock and you're going to allow your ROI to build to the point where you've accumulated claimable rewards that are equal to your principal, then the only time you would end the stake is in an actual emergency, because you're going to take a major hit on it if you do. But this is essentially allows the system to be more sustainable. It rewards those who stay in their time stake for the full length of their stake, and it fully rewards them with 100% of the penalty. And the way it does this is because instead of that person, that emergency end stake, getting those dividends paid out to them and continuing to be able to earn on that principal, their stake is ended. They get half of that principal back, and now and now all of that all of those extra drip or pigs BUSD tokens that would be claimable to them remains in the contract to pay out other people who are remaining in their stake for the full life of their stake. So the only time you're going to have essentially a frozen payout where it's like you're going to get this many tokens and that's it, you're done with your stake, is if you emergency end stake. if you don't emergency end stake, you can continue to earn on this platform for the whole life of the platform, whether you time lock or not. So this is we wanted the functionality of having an emergency end stake with just in case, just for the person who really does have an emergency,
right?
Because there is a way to do it that is not exploitable in the system and rewards those for who do stay in for the full life of the time stake. So we implemented it.
I think it's
again, it's going to
extremely
be
fair.
only for emergencies.
I think that's fair, and I think that there's really nothing to complain about at that point.
Yeah, because you can just stay in for the life of your stake and earn a full amount. Or in this system, you don't even have to time lock. So if you can't stay in for your time lock, don't time lock. But time locking creates such a powerful compounding opportunity. The vast majority of people will time lock, and I believe the majority of them will hold, because the penalty for emergency end staking is very steep. Because not only is it giving you half of your principal back when you've earned your full amount of principal, it also ends your ability to earn on that stake for the whole life of the project. Whereas if you did an emergency end stake, you can continue to earn on that stake for the life of the project, whether it's time locked or not. So
right, no advantage.
No, there's absolutely no advantage to emergency end staking, and that's very important. You can't have a system where it is beneficial to emergency end stake. So we went out of our way to ensure that is never an opportunity. So we have the ability to add multiple stakes, and this allows people to stake for 1 month, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, have different time horizons on their stake. The multiplier that you earn for time locking is non-linear, unlike every other project out there that has time staking. So you are exponentially rewarded for time staking longer. So this creates a lot more incentive to time stake for longer, where it's not, if you time stake for a year, you get a 20% bonus. If you time stake for 2 years, you get a 40% bonus. It's like, well, what's the point of that? I might as well just do two 1 year stakes, or it's really or I might as well stake for 1 year, and at the end of that year, just stake for another year. Right. Like there's having an exponentially increasing multiplier bonus the longer you stake really incentivizes for longer stakes, and we're going to see that play out on the market, and it's going to be that much more of a reason for people to set up multiple stakes. Now there's additional reasons for people to set up multiple stakes, and I'll get into that when we get into the referral system, but there's another very cool mechanic that doesn't exist in any other
this multiplier, man. Talk to us about this multiplier. You kind of tapped in on it earlier, so I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah. Okay. So we used the same distribution curve for the way that the multiplier is applied to stakes that options markets use for theta time decay. So whenever I choose an equation or choose some sort of calculation to apply in one of my systems, I always look for existing models and existing calculations that have been working over time. And I looked, when it comes to a calculation that has an effect on the impact of principal, there was nothing in DeFi that I could pull from, because there's nothing in DeFi that is adding a bonus to your principal over time. So I went outside of the DeFi space and looked at markets that do have some sort of multiplier that is being applied to a stake over time. And what I fell on, which was, which just like stood out to me because it just made so much sense, is theta time decay in options markets, where the value of your stake or your holdings essentially in the options contract is reduced over the life, so it hits zero by the time you get to your expiration date. So the value of the options contract starts off at essentially 100%, but by the time it gets to the expiration date, it's worth essentially nothing. And it starts off with a relatively flat curve and then is heavily weighted at the end to really put that full application at the end. Now, I took this same distribution and I inverted it. So instead of it decaying the power of the principal or the buying power of the principal, it's I inverted it to be putting a positive multiplier on it, but using the same distribution curve as options markets, theta time decay. And what this does is it still makes it extremely beneficial for people to time lock, because this bonus multiplier is being added to the principal, allowing to compound. But the full weight of the multiplier is not put onto the principal day one. This is important because if you have a system where, say, you time lock for a month and you get a 40% bonus, and this 40% bonus is immediately applied day one on the principal and then allowed to compound and snowball, you have a situation where it's like, by the end of the stake, it's like a 30,000x multiplier. And of course, this wouldn't be sustainable, right? So we needed to figure out a way to make it extremely attractive for people to time lock, and for this multiplier to be added to the principal so they can compound it, but do it in a sustainable fashion and in a way where essentially they get to the point where they could emergency end stake right away, because they if there's a 40% bonus, say for time locking for a month, or say 150% bonus for time locking for a year, and that full 150% multiplier is put on day one, then all of a sudden their principal is over 2x, 2.5x on day one. So this clearly isn't sustainable, and it doesn't make sense given the game theory of the protocol. So we needed a way to add this multiplier to the principal over time in a way that is extremely powerful, but also sustainable and makes sense. So the way we did it is by reaching out and looking at traditional markets and how they apply multipliers to a stake over time, specifically options contracts, and inverting it. So instead of having time decay, it's a multiplier that's increasing the value. And the way that this distribution works is you get 30% of the multiplier added to your principal in the first 75% of the stake, of the life of the stake. So if you stake for 100 days and you get a 100% multiplier, you've had 30% of this multiplier added to your principal in the first 75 days. And then in the last 25 days, that's when you get the other the other 70% of that multiplier added to your principal. And it essentially creates an opportunity where you're getting an increased compound interest every day, and both through the dividends that you're earning and compounding back into your stake, and through the bonus that is trickling into your principal every single day. And then in the last 25% of your stake, if you were honest about your staking time, and if you had a strong enough hand to maintain in your stake for the first 3 quarters of its life, then the multiplier that's being put on your principal essentially gets supercharged, and it's 75% of that multiplier bonus is added to your principal in the last 25%, allowing you to see extreme compound growth in the last 25% of your stake. So this does several things. It ensures that the bonus is sustainable. You're not getting the full multiplier added to your stake day one, which then would snowball out of control. But it is being added every day, which does give incentive to start compounding from day one, to really make use of this increased compound interest from day one. And then those who lasted in the system and did an emergency end stake in the first 75% of their stake, of their time harvest, now get rewarded for doing so in the strongest way, by having 75% of that bonus applied to your principal in the end part of your stake. And that's where you can really put an emphasis on compounding that back and really see extreme compound growth. So it's rewarding those that
stay
stake for longer and stay in their stake for the whole life of their stake, and compound over the life.
Right, good actors get rewarded by following through with what their commitment was as far as the staking length. So if I'm really trying to maximize, I'm going to be focused. I mean, obviously the whole time. I mean, I'm not going to miss a day, but for most people, if you can kind of make it a rule of thumb, the last little 25% of the length of time in your stake is where you really need to make sure you're compounding. You're getting the most out of it, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And this also creates a situation where people are not compounding until they build up that nut, and then just draining from then on. Because if you do that, if you have a system where you're compounding in the first 50% of your stake, and then for the last 50% of your stake, you're like, oh, let me build up so I can drain it when the time stake is over, you're not going to be seeing the full benefit of your time locking bonus. So you want to be compounding the most at the end of your stake. So it really stacks the incentives for creating a more sustainable protocol in that sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so none of this has ever been done, but it's using mechanics that have proven to be high performing in both traditional markets and in DeFi protocols such as Drip Garden, such as Hex. But we're taking the best of these systems and applying it into one protocol. And I strongly believe we could launch the Piggy Bank as a standalone project with its own token and make it its own project, and it would be extremely successful as something like just basically its own project. We could call it the whatever it is, whatever we decide to call it, whatever. I don't want to make it.
Well, the fact that it feeds into a larger ecosystem makes a big difference too, Forex. I mean, like, you really, I think that actually is more exciting from my point of view than just a standalone project. We already have Hex. Hex is already out. It's already doing its thing. But this gets me excited because it's part of a larger entity. It's feeding in to the entire ecosystem. And I just have the referrals pulled up now. I don't know if you want to go over the referrals, but I'm super pumped to hear what these referrals are all about, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was getting to. So we could launch it as a standalone project, and it would be very powerful, and I know it would be successful. But as building it as part of a larger ecosystem, it raises all ships, and it really compounds the power of the whole system. Because people that are earning dogs right now and selling them on the market, instead of selling them on the market, now they have a massive opportunity to farm pigs with them and get into the kind of short-term play that they are looking for by selling, right? Because clearly, if they're selling dogs instead of using them to accumulate more pigs, they have a shorter perspective on the platform, and they're just looking for a short-term return.
Right.
Having the pig pen gives them the opportunity to earn to have a shorter time frame on their on their ROI essentially, but it creates more incentive for people to utilize their dogs, to utilize their pigs, which in the end increases the value for those who have a longer term perspective. So it gives a new utility and new option for people with a shorter term perspective, but it really just compounds the power of people that are in it for the long term. So I believe it's gonna massively raise all ships, and I believe it's way more powerful as part of the larger ecosystem than a standalone project, but I do believe it has all the mechanics that would make it a very successful standalone project.
I got a question for you real quick. Were you thinking about this before or after you launched the Animal Farm? I'm just curious, did this come before Layer 2 and you kind of had this idea, or did this kind of come about after the launch of Layer 2? I'm curious.
Okay, so having a type of drip garden model with time locked harvesting is something that we had been working on, and is something that I intended to build for before we launched the Animal Farm. But after we launched the Animal Farm, and as we saw the way that people were interacting with the farm, we realized that we could offer this utility and this new investment option to the Animal Farm, and it would greatly improve the whole protocol, and it would add immediate value to dogs and pigs, specifically a short-term value play on the pigs token, which we feel like we were lacking a bit on the Animal Farm. So it just made sense. The idea was something that we're working on, but applying it to the Animal Farm is something that we decided to do after the launch.
Cool.
So
I was just curious. Yeah, it's a great idea, man. I just feel like it's like almost, you had said it before, it's kind of the missing link that kind of ties everything together. I feel the same way after hearing about it, and excited to hear more about it, man. So yeah.
So with the drip garden, when we launched the drip garden, it 2x'd the price of drip, and it also added about $30 million worth of liquidity to the drip token.
Mind blowing.
So when you have a relatively small liquidity pool, it limits the ability for large capital to come into the system. With pigs, we always intended to create a protocol that incentivizes liquidity adding to pigs. We didn't want to do it with the initial launching protocol of the Animal Farm, because we wanted to leave that door open for to decide after launch how we would implement that. And I'm so glad we did it, because instead of just having pig BUSD be another farm or another vault, which would incentivize people to buy and add liquidity, having a whole new option for it that's something that's innovative in the space and brand new is that much more attractive. So I'm very glad that we held off on it, but I expect it to have a much larger impact on both the price and the liquidity than even the drip garden did on drip. So it's extremely exciting, and the reason for that is because our following is that much bigger, our investor base is that much larger than it was before, and it's an improvement on the protocol as well. And some people have said, well, if you have improved on the mechanics of the drip garden, do you think it's going to take attention away from the drip garden? And what I would say to that is, sure, when we initially launch, it will probably take some attention away from the drip garden, just like when we launched the Manor Farm and we launched the Animal Farm, it took some attention away from the drip garden. But if your interest is earning yield on drip LP tokens, there's no better place in all of crypto to do that than the drip garden. You don't have an opportunity to earn yield on drip liquidity in the Piggy Bank. So it's providing a different utility with different mechanics for different assets. So will it take some attention away at the launch from the drip garden? Yeah, sure, it probably will, because it's a new option in the ecosystem. But will it in some way, take away from the potential of the drip garden? No, because they're different projects servicing different assets with different utilities and different mechanics.
Right.
And for the same reason, why people started taking drip BUSD tokens from the drip garden, putting them into the farm, which reduced the contract balance of the drip garden. But a couple of weeks after that, we were back at new all-time highs in the drip garden. I expect the same thing to play out here, where some attention might get taken away, but once we get past that initial launch hype, attention will come back to it, and people will realize that they're two completely different products. Sure. So let's get into the referrals.
All right, awesome.
So the referral bonus you get is dependent on how many dogs you have staked in the animal farm. This not only heavily incentivizes dog staking, but also prevents self-referring leeching. So we used a mechanic that was extremely successful in drip, and this is the need to hold or utilize another asset in order to unlock referral commissions.
Mm-hmm.
We're using the same model, but instead of just having to hold the token, like with BREIT, you need to stake it. So the single asset dogs pool that you earn pigs in, so it's mutually beneficial because you're getting a larger commission for staking more dogs in the dog single asset pool, and staking more dogs in the single asset pool allows you to earn more pigs, which can then be put into the piggy bank. So it has a positive feedback loop for people that are active in the system. And it really allows for, again, increasing this ability to earn compound interest. Now, it's if you look here, I referenced other projects in the space that had a referral system, basically other projects that had have a time locking harvest. If you look at them, all of them had a referral system for some short period, but once they got past the launch phase, that referral system ended. And the reason why they did this was because their referral system was looking at essentially it was giving a bonus on your deposit every time you refer someone, which was indifferent from the amount that person deposited. So it was a system that heavily incentivized self-referring in a way that could leech the system. And because of this, none of them allowed for this referral system to go past a year. And even in this year that it did exist, it was heavily abused to leech the system. Our protocol is extremely hardened because we were able to really battle test it as part of drip and really see what works and what doesn't work. And we're implementing this huge knowledge base that we were able to grow through our other development and apply it here in the system. Because of this, our referral system cannot be used to self-refer leech because the bonus that you would get for self-referring is less than the fee that or the tax that you would pay to start a new deposit. So that cancels out the benefit of self-referring. And then on top of this, you need to stake dogs to unlock it, which means that you would be putting capital to work in a way that wouldn't benefit you if you were trying to self-refer. But if you're not self-referring and you have legitimate referrals, that capital that you're being put to work is allowing you to earn a legitimate commission, and you're not having to pay the fee on it because you're not self-referring. You're not making that additional deposit that you're earning the commission on. Someone that you're referring is. So it's non-leachable, and it's also using a model that is proven to create additional value for both the token that you need to hold and the token that you're earning a commission on. So this is another major innovation that we're bringing to time lockup harvesting.
And on the top of that, Forex, this is gonna I mean, this is going to harden the price of dogs like crazy.
Yeah. Well, the next page, I have some info about that. But
Okay,
yeah, I
I'm on there.
agree. I believe we're going to see something very similar to what we saw with BREAP with the
Wow.
launch of Drip, and when we
Wow.
incentivized
Moon.
BREAP
Absolute
holding the Drip.
moon.
Exactly. So, so another feature that is only existing in our project that no other time staking protocol has is the ability to airdrop stakes. So you can create a stake. For example, say you wanna create incentive for people to use your referral link. We learned the ability to airdrop stakes is a huge incentive for onboarding new capital, and those who have platforms such as YouTube channels or groups or call channels or whatever it is can utilize these type of airdrop rewards to massively increase the amount of onboarding they can do, which is mutually beneficial to everybody in the system and themselves because they're increasing the amount of commissions they're earning. Mm-hmm. So the way that it works is you can create multiple stakes in the system. They appear as a type of table where it has a UI that's very similar to the Drip Garden, except for there's a few extra mechanics on top where you can choose the length of the stake you want to time lock for. And then below it, it has a table. It's kind of similar to what Hex's UI looks like, where it has all of your stakes associated with that wallet below and information about those stakes. Now, if you want to add to one of those stakes or compound one of those stakes, you just click on the stake in the table that you want to engage with, and then once it's clicked on, then you can choose to compound it, deposit into it, withdraw, time lock it for longer, whatever you want to do there. And there's also a airdropping button there where you can choose to airdrop that stake to friends, family, anybody you want. And this ensures that the person who you're doing the airdrop to cannot immediately dump those airdrops on the market. Wow. We realize that's extremely important. And the reason why Drip has amazing airdropping reward structure that doesn't result in price depreciation. If you look at any other airdrop structure for any other project, what happens is people join a team or they join a group or they do whatever they have to do to get the airdrop. They look at it as free money that they immediately dump on the market as soon as they get.
Right.
With this, the person who's doing the airdrop can decide the time stake of that airdrop before they put it out. So they can decide, all right, I'm going to airdrop 100 tokens to 10 people in a 1-year stake. So now they create 10 one-year stakes, and then they airdrop them out to 10 or 100 or however many members of their community. And now those members of those communities just got 10 essentially free tokens that are time locked for a year that they can now compound and grow in the system. So it's a very powerful system for incentivizing the onboarding of new users. And it's another innovation. There's no other time locking protocol that is in DeFi today that allows you to airdrop time stakes to other players in the system. So that's huge.
That's massive, man. I mean, the fact that you guys even thought about that is really, I wouldn't have ever even, that's crazy. I think it's yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So if you want to go to the next page, it shows an example of BREAP, and it's also it explains a little bit about the how this mechanic works. So the referral commission structure is based on Drip's highly successful BREAP dependency model with a Fibonacci sequence progression. This is the same Fibonacci sequence progression that we use for BREAP in Drip. And we use this because it increases the amount of tokens that you need to hold or stake non-linearly as the bonus grows. So it ensures that in order to get that higher bonus, you're putting exponentially more dogs in the staking contract. The same as you need to hold exponentially more BREAP to unlock further downlines. So the way this works is you need to have 2 dogs staked in the single asset dogs pool in order to get a 1% commission on the capital that you refer. So when you refer someone and they make a deposit, if you have 2 dogs staked, you start earning a commission based on the capital that they're earning in the system. Now, if you have 3 dogs staked, it's a 2% commission. 5 dogs staked, you earn a 3% commission, and this is a commission based on what your referrers are earning in the system. 8 dogs staked, 4%. 13 dogs staked, 5%. And some people were saying, basically these are people that they don't, they just want to see as much pump in as short a time frame as possible. And I understand that. They're saying, no, make it more dogs, make it more dogs. But the reality is, with BREAP, for example, when we initiated this system, BREAP was like $2. And you needed to hold 2 BREAP to unlock the first level of commissions, which is a 10% commission, much higher than the commission payout on the animal farm, or on the piggy bank, I should say. So it literally costs $4 to start unlocking, and to max it out, it costs like maybe $800 to completely max it out. And people at the time were saying that's not high enough; it should be higher. But I knew that it was going to have a massive positive impact on price appreciation, and very shortly, these values would not be small, and people would be saying, "Can you lower them? Can you lower them?" So I expect the same thing to happen with dogs, where the initial amount of dogs that you need to hold is fair and is reachable by the average user. And that's important because I want the average user to be able to spend a couple $100 and be able to earn a commission. Bro, stake a couple $100.
It's like DeFi Proof said, man, got me reap at 40 cents, and he's right, man, because it was cheap, man. I remember I locked it in around, gosh, I want to say it was like a little over $1, and I maxed it out, because I just had to go with it. And then as I've seen, the price has just taken off. I mean, it's actually kind of expensive now to get those downlines.
Oh yeah, it is, and it is by design, because if it wasn't worthwhile to if the commissions that you could earn by unlocking downlines wasn't worthwhile, people wouldn't be buying BREAP. The price wouldn't be going up. Clearly, it's still worth doing because the price is still appreciating. So that I expect to see the same mechanics play out here. And if you look at this BREAP price, it's a perfect example of how basically all of my protocols have gone with a very large height pump. We then have 60%, a correction, where, just
like you said,
where and then we create a bottom, and then we start building from there, and then it's only a matter of time where this value set that is building starts to compound. The user base grows and grows and compounds, and then it takes the addition of one utility or one interview or just one thing to set it off, and then now we're hitting new all-time highs, and that's happened with every single one of my projects.
Bro, and the reason why Forex is because your projects work, brother. I mean, know, that's the reason why. You can bet on it working. So if it's going to pop, I'm with you. Yeah,
and I believe this piggy bank is that thing we're looking for that creates that. So right now we've had the hype pump, we've had the correction, we're creating the bottom, and I believe the piggy bank, just like BREAP's utilization in drip was the thing to set it off and allow it to grow. The piggy bank, I believe, is what's going to trigger the the animal farm as a whole to set in that bottom and explode, have explosive price
So pack
growth.
your bags.
Now
Pack
I
it
think
up.
the animal
Get
farm,
ready to go.
I think
Yeah.
the animal farm, because of the way it's designed, would, with its current mechanics, set in a bottom, start appreciating, and make all-time highs.
Mm-hmm.
This just, and we see that because if the price was to reduce slightly more, the dynamic supply control algorithm would then adjust the emission rate, and now the dog and pigs tokens would become deflationary. So at that point, we've already stabilized the price when the emission rate went down to restrictive. If it was to bump down to deflationary, then without a doubt, we're going to start seeing price appreciation. But this mechanic, I believe, is going to be the trigger just to put fast forward on that process and allow it to happen without the dynamic supply control algorithm having to step out and make the dog and pigs token deflationary. So this referral structure is going to add a ton of value to the dog's token. It's a new use case to the dog's token. It's a new reason to stake the dog tokens to earn pigs. And when those pigs are earned, those who have a long-term perspective on the project and realize that they have a massive opportunity here to be an owner of the protocol as this vault balance grows, to earn 3% of that balance every day, will be taking those pigs and putting them in the pig pen. But I would suggest to diversify and take a portion of that capital and put it in the piggy bank as well, because that's going to allow you to see even greater compound interest that has a daily ROI type of model. So it's not based on so much on the deposit fees accumulating, whereas it's a set daily ROI that in a protocol that has proven to work, because it's essentially drip guarded with evolved mechanics essentially.
Right.
So I believe this is essentially the mechanic that or the new option, the new investment option that's going to take the price of the animal farm tokens, the dog and pigs, which were inevitably going to be successful, and just trigger it to just get immediately into that growth and exponential price appreciation phase, like we've seen with all my other projects. If you look at Drip had a massive 20x pump at launch. It corrected 60%, something like that.
Yep.
It stayed there for about 3 months, and then it started growing, and then we saw a new all-time high, and it just exploded after that. With BREAP, we launched, we had a massive growth, we had a correction, and then we implemented BREAP in the Drip system, and that's what made it start growing and exploding. And both of these, both BREAP and Drip, regardless if we added any new development to the system, had reached the phase where they had reached a bottom and had started growing. But it was the introduction of some new mechanic or some new utility that triggered this explosion to new all-time highs. And that's the piggy bank for the animal farm.
Well, you're a master at that, man. That's one of the things we all know. In my eyes, #1 developer in the DeFi space, hands down. And I think other people are recognizing, and I'm not just blowing smoke. I actually really believe that, because you're just not seeing the type of innovation as quickly. One of the things you understand is that crypto is a day is a year. I mean, that's what they say in crypto, and it's true. So people have short-term mindsets and short thinking. So one of the things I appreciate about you, and I think we can all agree, is that you can just have faith in Forex, is what people say. Well, why is that? It's because you're constantly coming to the table with these innovations, and you're doing it fast, because you understand that crypto moves just differently. It's faster pace. So I think that what you're adding here could easily be the catapult to the next leg up. I mean, I'm looking at this brief chart right here, and yeah, I think that this could be the next leg up for dogs big time. And the entire ecosystem as well. I got a couple of, just things on my mind too, like drip, because I'm in drip as well. Do you think that there'll be any rollover effect as far as it affecting the drip price or affecting the drip ecosystem in a positive way? Or is this sort of, I know it's really separate, but I mean, if one part of the system is doing well, does that roll over to drip at all? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so just to speak on what you were saying before, I put a lot of value in momentum. For not just my projects, but my career. I believe the thing that separates the extreme successful people, the people that are the super wealthy, or you don't have to measure wealth in dollar value. Wealth comes in many forms.
Right.
But when I say wealth, I mean quality of life, and your relationships, and also your capital and your power in your space around you, are people that can stack multiple days, as many days in a row, where they're creating value, where they're getting things done. And the people, what separates people who are hard workers and see average to like average growth, from the people that are hard workers and see the kind of insane wealth that very few attain, is the ability to control momentum and stack one positive day after another positive day after another positive day, and one piece of innovation development on another piece of innovation development, and it gets to the point where it compounds at such a rate that you end up so far ahead of the competition that no matter how hard they work, they can never keep up. So I'm someone that, the way that I manage my career, and also the way I like to develop, is with putting a lot of value on momentum and the importance of momentum, and continuing to develop and continuing to innovate. And as we see, it raises all ships, because I'm not someone that creates something that isn't somehow benefiting my existing projects. Now, because there is something to be said about developers that are, launching a new project however often, once a week, and they're doing that because they're just forking or cloning other people's work, and they're not tying it into their overall ecosystem, and they're essentially just spamming contracts out once a week that are pump and dumps. Where what I'm doing is developing new investment vehicles and new utility for the existing ecosystem, and I'm continuing to build this momentum and to build this this utility and this value of the ecosystem every day. And I try to do at least one thing every single day that's going to benefit and grow the ecosystem. And because of that, we've seen that my projects continue to grow and continue to provide value to their holders years after launch. And I believe this is a reason why people have the confidence to hold onto one of my assets, such as BREIT, which spent a few months down 60% before it finally took off. And people that held in drip, and those people were extremely rewarded for doing so.
Yes.
And people have seen this happen one time after another with all my projects. And it's not by accident, it's by design. It's because we continue to provide value and use case for these tokens. And at one point something has to give. Like the incentives and the game theory and the large behind the projects are designed to see positive price appreciation and to pay out a high ROI. And over time, eventually, this logic and this game theory will play out. But when you take this logic and game theory that will play out in this way, and you continue to stack value, and you continue to stack use cases, and you continue to build the ecosystem, and you continue to promote, and you're doing it day after day after day, eventually something's going to happen, and
Well,
you will see
absolutely.
price
Man,
appreciation.
it's like I always say, Forex. I don't really put my money into technology or a white paper. I always put my money into teams, man. So I got my money on you. I think everyone in chat is blowing up right now because what you just said was like mic drop situation. So I think they got some one-liners there, brother. But yeah, incredible. I'll let you keep going through the white paper, man.
Yeah, so the last part is just essentially how to add liquidity. So we wanted something that just basically shows the UI that they would be interacting with to add liquidity, and it tells a little bit about the tax on the pig token, which is only applied on selling. Now, I should also mention, because some people are asking about it, they noticed that they weren't paying a tax on buying dogs, and they weren't paying a tax on adding liquidity to dogs. And this is because we have a limited ability to control the tax on dogs. So when I say limited, I mean that there's a max tax and a minimal tax that we can apply to dogs. The reason why we set a limit to it is for the security of the protocol. So investors can rest assured that they won't wake up one day with 100% tax on the token. Because, scam developers have utilized a tax protocol like that in the past to scam their investor base by putting 100% tax on the token so you can't sell it. If you sell it, you end up burning your tokens. And this is a way that developers have been able to rug pull without rug pulling, essentially, by putting a tax on everybody else and having it so they're the only ones that can earn and sell the token.
Seen that,
so, yeah, you've seen it. Yeah, so we put a limitation on it, which means that the highest we can set the tax on dogs is 10%, and the lowest we can void the tax altogether. And we want to make it right now as pain-free as possible to buy and add liquidity to pigs. So, to dogs. So there's no tax on buying dogs right now. There's no tax on adding liquidity to dogs. There's only tax on additional transactions and selling dogs. And and this is the way that it will be for the time period. And what will likely happen is we'll open it up to a vote in the pig pen if we think it's a good time to increase the tax on buying dogs, which the increased tax on buying dogs, what this would do is increase the amount of BUSD going to the pig pen. Mm-hmm. So there is a benefit for increasing the tax on dogs on buying, but for right now, we want to make it as pain-free for people to buy dogs, add liquidity to dogs. So that's why there's no tax on buying dogs right now. There's no tax on adding liquidity to dogs or on staking dogs. Only on additional transactions such as withdrawing dogs from your stake, swapping them around, or scalp trading, dumping, those kinds of things. And we learned from Drip that you want to void or minimize the tax on positive actions as much as possible, and we're doing that right now by avoiding the tax on dogs. Anybody, we made these contracts open source, so anybody can look at the contracts and see, what I'm talking about here. But anyways, I wanted to speak on that. Now with Drip, yes. So not only is this going to bring a ton more attention to Drip, which we saw when we launched the Manor Farm, which was layer 1 of the animal farm, about 2 weeks after the Manor Farm ended, we saw a new all-time high in Drip price. That's because some attention was taken away from Drip and put into the Manor Farm. A ton of new users came in and were onboarded. And then once we got past the initial launch hype of the Manor Farm, and just on a daily basis, as people in the Animal Farm Telegram group were being exposed to Drip, we started having that capital start to leak over into the Drip contracts as well, and buying and appreciating the price of Drip. Now, drip has been extremely stable and even appreciating in price while the whole market is dying and crashing. And, that's extremely, extremely positive.
I think
Now,
I just want to say it's one of the things that I love going into the drip chat and just seeing people celebrating when Bitcoin is at like a market low. Like
yeah,
when it dropped down to about 30, whatever, 36,000, whatever it went down to recently. Everyone was celebrating in chat for all time, like close to all time highs. So I just thought that was
yeah.
so powerful, man, to have that ability and to have that bear proof type of asset is extremely powerful.
Drip has proven to perform the greatest in bear markets.
Yeah,
And this is because we have different protocols in place that allow us to decouple from the market. And when the rest of the market is crashing and you have one asset that's able to decouple and allow you to earn a very low risk daily ROI on this capital that's maintaining value while the rest of the market dumps. It's extremely powerful, and it looks like an island in the sea of red. So this kind of this is a major self-promoting type of mechanic of drip that when people know that the market's about to crash, they get into drip as a safe haven.
Oh yeah,
and this is. As it continues to perform in this way, it's going to play out even greater. It's going to be a type of self-fulfilling prophecy where people realize this, and it has an even more attractive effect, which creates more capital coming in, which allows us to perform better while the rest of the market is crashing, and it becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, on top of this, on top of all the attention that it's going to bring, it also adds more value to the dog and pigs tokens. Now, one of the ways that you can earn pig tokens, the only non-core farm in the whole platform that you can earn pig tokens on, is the drip BUSD liquidity pair, the PancakeSwap liquidity pair. So this creates, whenever you're creating more value for the pigs token, which this does, it inevitably creates more value for dogs and for drip, because dogs and drips are the only way that you can earn pig tokens without buying them directly from the market. So the attention and the co-promotion, the utility of the drip token to earn pigs, and also the lottery that we're developing that takes the pigs that are being collected from the dev fee, and instead of that dev fee going into the pockets of the owners and developers, we're sticking with the spirit of the animal farm and having the dev fee instead, going to the participants of the platform. And we're doing this through a lottery model where you can buy tickets every day for a daily lottery that pays out pigs. This pigs is not coming from inflation, is not coming from an increased supply. It's coming from a tax that's applied on depositing and withdrawing from the piggy bank, very similar to the drip garden, where there's a tax on depositing withdrawing from the drip garden. In the drip garden, 100% of this drip that is collected is not going into the developers' pockets or being used to sell on the market to, create BNB or BUSD for the developers. It's being sent to the drip faucet, the drip faucet wall, to make the system that much better and reward participants that much more. We're utilizing the same mechanic for the piggy bank, but we don't have any kind of faucet for pigs, so we're utilizing a type of lottery system. And this lottery system removes pigs from circulation while putting them to work to create additional value for both drips and dogs, because those are the assets that you'll be able to buy tickets with. So we may have another option that allows you to buy with BNB or BUSD as well. But if we do that, the rate for buying with dogs or with drip will be a better rate, and then the BUSD or BNB that we sell tickets with will go into appreciating the price of dog and pigs. So I'm not set on whether we'll allow for tickets to be purchased with BNB or BUSD. If we did, that BNB and BUSD would go directly to appreciating the price of dog and pigs. But I think I'm leaning more towards having the only assets that you can use to buy pigs or buy tickets to the pig lottery will be in drip and dog tokens. And what we'll do is those dog tokens that are used to buy tickets will be sent to a burn address or removed from circulation, and the drip used to buy the ticket will be sent to the faucet to pay out divs. So again, none of it's going in the developers' pockets, right? 100% of it is going to the sustainability and the growth of the platform. And I think this is another reason why people are confident about staying in the project and getting into my projects, is because they know this isn't about me creating some short-term cash grab public dump. I always ensure that if there is a rate being paid out to developers, it's never being paid out in the tokens. So it's never a situation where in order to put that capital to work, I would need to sell the tokens. And it's always an extremely fair rate, if at all. A lot of my projects have no dev fee at all. And the ones that do have a dev fee, I ensure that it's a small dev fee, an extremely fair dev fee, essentially just the amount that I need to sustain the project and continue to develop and pay my partners and, pay artists and buy audits and all the things that, that need to happen and take capital to happen to develop in the space.
So when is the launch of this, Forex? I think you were saying Tuesday you were going to announce that. Is that right?
Okay, so let me, yeah.
Maybe not. You want to say it here?
No. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, do it. Oh, drop the heat, man. Drop it.
Oh man, I don't know if I should, but all right. So let me just. Let me give an exact date on Tuesday. Well, let me just let people know it's not going to be over a week away. So it's going to be announced, and then within a week we're going to go live with it. So
that's enough. That's short. Yeah, so that's a short period of time. So yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I don't want to say right now is because we've built the whole thing, right? So the contracts are built. We're in the process of testing, running projections, doing audits on the contracts. We're still putting the final pieces on the front end UI, and I've learned from the past, and I'm not perfect, right? Everybody makes mistakes, but the thing that is important is that you learn from your mistakes and you continue to evolve. And one thing that I've learned from is never give a launch day until everything is 100% built.
Oh yeah.
That way,
Agreed.
you know that you're not going to have to delay it. Yeah. And I've always done this in the past, but the first time we've ever had a delay was with the animal farm. And the reason why this delay happened is because we built everything and everything was ready to go. And we had sent the contracts out to Paladin to get an audit, and the audit ended up taking a little longer than we expected. And I didn't want to launch without the audit being completed. So basically I gave the launch day when everything was finished developed, but we hadn't got the audits back yet. And I pushed launch back 2 weeks so I could ensure that I got the audit back before we went live. So I learned from that, right? When I talk about mistakes that we've had in the past, that's about it, right? We've never been hacked. We've never been exploited. We've never been scammed or rug pulled. Like, everything has gone extremely, extremely positive.
Right.
But I'm not perfect, right? And there's always something that we can learn from. And that's something that I learned from the animal farm is ensure that the audits are back and 100% of everything is developed before you give a launch date. That way,
absolutely, when
it gets time, you don't have to have a delay. So the reason why I'm saying this now and why I don't want to say the launch day is because we got to put a bow on it. But I'm 100% confident that this will be completed by Tuesday, and then on Tuesday we'll give the date, and the date will be no more than a week after. And the reason why I don't want to just go live on Tuesday, for example, is I don't want to just go live on Tuesday, for example, is I want to have at least a week, but it's going to be no longer than a week. Like and it's going to be announced on Tuesday. I think you can read between the lines and get the launch date, but I'm not going to officially give the launch date until Tuesday. And this is so we have this is so I know it's 100% ready to go when I give the launch day, and we have a week to really market and promote that launch day and get full exposure for the project. Now we had a ad competition. There were some very quality ads, especially one that I loved, and we're in the process of getting those up as well. I've been this weekend fully focused on getting the Pigpen developed. So I've been spending all of my waking hours, developing, on calls with my partner developers and myself developing and writing the white paper, because I know that what's going to have the most positive impact right now is getting the Pigpen deployed. So that's what 100% of my focus is on. Now, Tuesday, that everything we need to be done as far as the development standpoint will be completed. I'll give a launch, and then it's 100% of my focus will be on promotion and marketing. And I'm in meetings right now with several platforms about getting our ads up, but I'm really going to step that up after Tuesday when we're finished with development, because that's what my full focus will be on.
First of all, I just want to say I think everyone agrees. We commend you for launching this when everything is done. I mean, that's you're learning from the past, and those little tiny things do make a difference. So launching this thing fully completed is definitely going to be a plus for everyone. So while I have you here, I want to just ask you, about any partnerships or anything like that you're working on that you may want to throw out there. I don't know if you have that ready, available, if you want to mention anything or not, but I figured I know a lot of people are itching to hear what you got in the works, including myself.
Okay. Let me give some alpha then.
Let's go.
So all right. So I've been holding off to saying the name of this project that we're going to be having a partnership with, but I'm confident that it's going to be the next partnership that we have for Drip, and we will have a partnership with them with the animal farm. And I believe that they're the most innovative NFT platform. And look at OpenSea. Snap. OpenSea is sloppy, right? Like they just got exploited or like pseudo exploited through phishing links or whatever happened. They have no transparency, so who knows what happened.
Right.
But they're getting caught with insider buying and insider manipulation, and they've been exploited multiple times. But they're a first mover, so they have a lot of that momentum. But I believe this project that I'm about to name, or this platform that I'm about to name, has the innovation behind them and the the ability to develop a network that I believe will outpace OpenSea. And they have, from everything I've seen, they have integrity. So integrity goes a long way over time. Now, having a lack of integrity and being able to cut corners, you might see a pump out of that because you're cutting corners, and that, like eating candy, it can give you some energy in the short term, but it's not going to be sustainable, and it's not going to be something that you can really build off of. And because of this, I believe that OpenSea will be replaced, and I believe the platform that has the most likelihood on the ERC20 network to replace them is Loot. right? Loot, loot. And we are working right now with a partnership with Loot to do the first ever cross-chain NFTs that have utility on two major platforms on two separate chains utilizing the same NFT. And the way this is going to work is we'll have an NFT auction mint event. The rarity of the NFTs that you get will be based on luck and how much drip you have locked up in the faucet. So the way that works is there'll be a range. So if you have, say, 100 drip in the faucet, you could get a range between, common to, slightly above common. If you have 500 drip locked up, you could have slightly above common to uncommon. If you have, say 1,000 drip, you could have slightly above uncommon to rare. And if you have, say, 5,000 drip locked up, you could get a between uncommon and super rare. So it's a range. So this way there's still an element of luck, right? Even if you have a ton of drip locked up, you could get maybe an uncommon or you could get a super rare. But you're not going to get a common. See what I'm saying? So,
right.
So it's dependent on both luck and how much drip you have in the faucet. Now, what the benefit you get for holding this NFT is both recognized in the Loot platform and in the Drip platform. And the way it's recognized in the Drip platform is you can stake this NFT, and a portion of the drip that goes to the deployer wallet, which is currently being sent to the tax vault and being used to pay out taxes, will be going to the stakers of these NFTs. So essentially, it gives you a share ownership of the deployer wallet and a share ownership of the drip network. And this is huge, right? So it's paying out drip to these NFT stakers in a non-inflationary model, allowing them to get a share ownership of the drip network. Now, these same NFTs can be staked in Loot's platform to get a plot in their metaverse, which has all kinds of benefits, right? It allows you to hold auctions on your piece of land in the metaverse. There's several games that can be played in the metaverse. You can earn a share of their tokens by being an active participant in the metaverse. And also, we can do things like host drip games in the essentially in our plot of land in their metaverse. So typically, I'm someone that I'm standoffish when it comes to things like digital property and this kind of stuff, because I do believe that that you can have a successful metaverse that does provide value and is a functional, successful business. I mean, look at Fortnite, look at Minecraft, right? These are essentially fully operational metaverses that provide a ton of value to their users and are generating income, right? Generating income for the owners of these metaverses, which are the like the CEO of and workers of Fortnite, for example. So so it's it's proven that you can have a metaverse that is a working business model that does provide value. Now, what makes me standoffish about current blockchain and DeFi metaverses is none of them are actually providing the value that something like a Fortnite metaverse provides, right? The value in Fortnite is created by the game itself, and the assets that you can earn or you can buy with V-Bucks or whatever the currency is in Fortnite, those assets get their value and create demand through the ability to utilize them in the game. Now, most of these so-called metaverse projects out there, they have nothing but a token and a bunch of promises to develop this use case, to create value for their land and for their digital property. Now, what Loot is doing, and why I believe that they will be able to actually create value, is they are not so they're not selling essentially the idea of their metaverse. Their metaverse is not going to be like a fully functional platform until they've provided this value and they have the network to do it. So right now they're working with a development team to build essentially a VR version of like a Google Maps, and this Google Maps allows you to see and interact with plots using a UI that's very similar to Google Maps. It looks very cool. And they have their own business entity that allows for other businesses to partner with them to create value in this metaverse. And they've already started doing that. For example, they work with a company that manages escrow. So what this allows is for say you want to deploy a celebrity NFT project, and for buying the NFT, you get backstage passes and a flight to the concert. Loot has a partner that handles this escrow, so you can work within the Loot metaverse to provide an escrow to have like real life bonuses, such as airplane tickets to go see a concert, backstage passes. They have several game devs that are well-known game devs that they are working with to build several games in the metaverse. They're speaking with us to try to get us to launch one of our games within their metaverse instead of doing it as a standalone or as part of like this on Solana, like we are considering. So they already have an established network with developers that are creating value and creating utility, and some of them are already creating value and creating utility. And they were just on CNBC like 2 days ago. I just got off a meeting with the owner of Loot, and they really have the networks and the connections to get this thing off the ground and be a competitor to create the first real blockchain metaverse with real utility and real incentives to get involved in buying land. So this is why I take them more serious. And you also look at the structure of like their NFT auction protocol and the way that they do limited releases of NFTs instead of doing like these massive runs where 5,000 NFTs are minted, and like they're doing a lot of things different that are innovative that I believe will allow them to overtake OpenSea eventually. And wow. I believe they have the networks and they have the connections and they have the ability to create value in their metaverse in the same way that a Fortnite or a Minecraft or one of these metaverses create value. And because of this, I'm taking them more seriously, and I'm willing to do a partnership with them. And this partnership, like I said, is to do something that's truly innovative, and that is the first fully cross-chain NFTs that allow you to stake the same NFT on the ERC20 network and on the BSC network at the same time, and get value from both networks on two major platforms at the same time. And Loot is they're a company. They're not add-on, so they're fully incorporated. They have a multi-billion-dollar marketing budget, and they are extremely excited to partner with Drip. And they're ready to put a multi-billion-dollar marketing budget behind these first ever cross-chain NFTs that we're going to release together. And it's going to be massive, right? It's one of the biggest NFT platforms in all of DeFi, partnering with one of the fastest growing protocols on BSC to innovate and create something that's like truly massive and provide utility for these NFTs on both of our platforms. And the way that we can do it cross-chain like that is because the NFTs, the metadata and the asset that is represented by the NFT is held on a server. And then we have the same contract deployed on both the BSC network and the ETH network. And both of these contracts, which are identical on both chains, are calling the same asset on the server. So it's the same NFT being called by two different chains, and having the contracts on both chains allow us to provide utility for this NFT on both chains while having one individual NFT asset. And it's going to be huge, right? It's creating massive value for these NFTs on both chains. And I'm committed to working with them to create additional value through, developing games and continued utility in their ecosystem, which in turn creates, exponentially more value in our ecosystem and creates a massive cross promotion opportunity. Man, so I've been in calls with the owner of Loot, very, very often. I just talked to him 2 days ago. He was just at the airport. We had like a half an hour call to prepare for this. And as soon as we get the Piggy Bank out and launched, our full focus is going to be marketing the animal farm and working on this partnership with Loot to do the first cross-chain NFTs. And I believe that this is one of the largest partnerships we can do. We have another major partnership. And when I say major partnership, I'm talking about the largest platform on BSC reached out to us to do a type of lending protocol with Drip. And
wow, let's go.
That's huge as well. And we're in the process of negotiating with them. But that's that partnership that I just leaked a bit is that will allow us to do lending in Drip. That will allow people to take a loan out against their Drip stake and have the loan be self-paying, both through the ROI that you earn in Drip and through the interest that you're earning through this partnership.
How much more alpha do people need? Oh my God, Jesus!
Well, I could keep going because
oh my God, overload. No, please keep going.
We have so much in the works that so I wanted to create a roadmap for Drip going out a year because we have so much in the works with Drip. The reason why I decided not to do it is because I don't want to make commitments that limit us.
Right.
So if I had made a commitment about what our next partnership would be, before I got contacted by the largest platform on all of BSC, like I could have made a commitment to something that then hurt our potential to work with them. Right. So I don't want to make any limiting commitments. But there's so much in the works.
I just want to say, man, you are just relentless, brother. This is why I got my money on you. This is why we're here. We believe in you. I'm so happy that James and you hit it off and that I'm so happy that worked out. And I think that Loot is such an incredible platform. I've been in here. I'm kind of just showing my screen right now. I've been in here with the R2R members, a private team, private VIP group I have, and just getting plots. We got our own Riches of the North in there, which is a whole section of Loot that was mapped out and blocked off just for us. It was awesome. I, in fact, have an NFT dropping in here, brother. I don't know if I told you, but I have an NFT dropping, a piece of my music dropping in the next couple of days. It's up here right now. So super pumped and just excited that we brought, we tried to bring as much value as we could when we entered the platform at its infancy. It still is at its infancy. So I just think like you just, having the mindset you have, thinking in the future, also thinking in the now, it's got to be a lot going on for you. I don't know how you do it, man, but my money is on you and James, the CEO. He's very, open door policy. You write something in chat, he'll most likely, respond. I think you guys are freaking a powerhouse, man. I mean, I cannot wait to see what happens there, brother. I mean, he is probably the most intense, besides you, one of the most intense people in crypto I've ever met. Meaning he's just smart as all hell, So
yeah. So we've had a lot of great conversations in preparation for this. I'm someone who is standoffish, and I'm not even willing to have a partnership if it's only about co-promotion or if it's only about creating some short-term flash in the pan.
Right.
I'm interested in a partnership with Loot because I see them as being one of the major NFT platforms that has the network and has the capability to actually create a functional metaverse that actually creates value for the owners of land in the metaverse.
Right.
And you and Thomas helped connect me.
Yeah, shout out to Thomas G for making that happen and helping that too, because he was a major part of that. I mean, I met James, he knew you. I mean, we just connected dots, and it was a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, and as soon as we got into the first call with them, I saw what they were doing, and I realized that if we're gonna do an NFT project, and we want to have partnerships for Drip, this is a perfect opportunity to do the first cross-chain NFT protocol where we have two major platforms and two hard-hitting development teams that are both trying to innovate, work together to create something that is brand new and with the budget and the network to actually put it in the forefront.
Right.
So that's coming next, right? So that's alpha, right? This is the first time I've ever publicly said
super alpha. Oh my God. Thank you,
Our next
man.
partnership with Drip will be Loot. So you'll be hearing more about that very soon. So as soon as we get the Piggy Bank out, our full focus is going to be on marketing the animal farm and all the contracts of the animal farm. That's going to be our full attention for the animal farm, and for Drip, our full attention is going to be on launching this Loot cross-chain NFT partnership. And that's really what our full focus is going to be on.
Get ready to 2x. Get ready for that $200, plus Drip again.
Yeah, man. And then, so I would say after that, just to give one more thing, then we go into partnership vaults for the animal farm. So I think those are the next steps, right? It's the Piggy Bank, it's marketing the Piggy Bank, it's the Loot partnership, and then it's the Animal Farm Vaults partnership. This is what's coming up next. And then we have something major in the background that's in negotiations right now to do a major lending protocol built on top of Drip. And we also have a partnership that's in the works right now that really it's in their hands, but a partnership with a company that does celebrity licensing to handle their NFT deploying. And I believe that there's a good chance we're going to end up utilizing Loot with this as well to even put more exposure on these NFTs. Yeah. But this partnership that we have with this celebrity licensing company is being developed by their team on a daily basis. I don't talk about it too much because it's really on them at this point now to they already have from what I've seen 14 licensing agreements to do NFT deals for 14 well-known celebrities, and really it's on them to execute. But as soon as they start executing on this, which I believe they will, then that's another major thing that we'll be promoting and marketing. Basically, licensed celebrity NFTs that are bought with BNB and BUSD. This BNB and BUSD is then used to buy Drip. That Drip is staked, and then holders of the NFT get a portion of the ROI that's generated from the Drip stake. This is something that the contracts have been developed. The licensing deals, as far as I know, are secured, and it's just about them executing now. And they're taking their time with it, which is something I'm fine with because we have so much going on.
Right.
And I want it to be successful. So,
yeah, for sure.
So that's another major thing. So we have so much
That's
in the
so
works.
much. Oh my
Drip
gosh.
and the animal farm.
It's never ending, and I'm sure you get hit up 1,000 times a day for different partnerships. So at this point, it's about choosing the, not just selecting all of them, but it's actually more powerful saying no, right, to the ones that just aren't up your wheelhouse. You're getting hit with so many offers and opportunities. I'm really excited to have you and James on the channel. I know we talked about that. If you're still open to it, I'd love to just do not an AMA, nothing like that. Just he actually brought it up. He's like, why don't we just get on and talk about the metaverse and talk about NFTs and talk about the future of technology and bring DeFi into the picture. And so you two, and I might bring one other person in. But I think that would be just cool. I think we're going to call it Drinks in Crypto. I don't know if you drink Forex. Do you drink at all?
I don't drink, but I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Well, I'm not a drinker.
You got to have a root beer or something, but we're going to have some drinks and just talk about crypto, man, because we're all crypto lovers. And, I just think that would be so much fun. But brother, I'll let you kind of wrap it up. Do you have anything else you want to expand on right now? I'm just blessed for you being here today on my channel, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, so as far as partnerships, you're right. I get thousands of DMs a day. A good handful of them are legitimate dev teams that want to partner or people that want to work with us or whatever the case may be. But because my Telegram is associated as the owner of these platforms and these groups are advertised on, CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, etc., I also get a ton of spam. So for this reason, I miss 99% of the DMs I get, more than 99% of the DMs I get. But
I think I was in that spam folder for a while. so
if you're not in a DM folder, that's the thing. If you're not in a specific DM folder, then I'll just never see it. Right. Because I have, Telegram maxes out the notifications at 99, and mine just stays at 99. Even if I clear them, a second later, it's above 99. So I never, unless I specifically have a saved conversation with someone, I don't get the DMs. But we added in a form on both the Drip site and the Animal Farm site that people can fill out. And this is for partnerships and proposals. So if you fill out this form, it will be gotten to eventually. Like, you have a much better chance of having us see it and recognizing it through filling out the form on the website than sending a DM. So keep that in mind. Anybody that's willing to or wants to have a partnership, you're right. We get dozens of proposals. We turn down basically all of them. But if you are providing something that is interesting and innovative and makes sense to be part of our ecosystem, even if it's just a vault on the Animal Farm where you give a portion of your total supply to be used as rewards for people pairing one of our core tokens with your core token and staking it in the vault to earn some tokens, to earn an APY in your total supply. As long as your project is secure and we see a longer term vision in it, we're willing to give you the platform. And, that's immediate exposure to tens of thousands of investors, many millions of dollars.
That's huge.
And a major co-promotion opportunity. So, if you want a partnership, feel free, fill out the form and get to us. I couldn't be more excited with the way that everything is playing out and unfolding. We just had Chainlink Labs reach out to us. They're interested in working together. So, finally, we're having the big hitters in the space reaching out to us and not the other way around. And it's opening so many doors to us. Right. And the future is just, unbelievable. There's no way that anybody could have seen the current state of the projects a month ago and been able to predict the doors that are being opened up to us every day for potential opportunities that we will be taking advantage of. The Animal Farm, Drip, B-Reap, all of my projects.
I think Stunner Breezy saw it.
He's been in since day one.
I love that guy, man. I haven't met him personally, but I've always watched his video. I watched the video from yesterday talking about how he was, when Drip fell and everyone was out, he was compounding. He was adding on. And people were saying, I'm not going to do any more Drip videos. The FBI is coming after me or taxpayers go, it's so ridiculous. But all the while, man, there's certain people that were the core of what you started, man, and they followed through to the end, and he still is. And so I
And
love
the
that.
whales.
Yeah, and they're whales. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so people look at what people like Stunner Breezy earn in the system, and they're like, wow, this guy earns so much capital. But it's like, yeah, he earned so much capital because he was someone that was in from the start and never gave up on us.
And he went hard. He did the max, he said, right? He did the max. So you know, he went 10 BNB in, he said.
Yeah, and he's continued to compound and continue to be a part of every single project, and you see how that plays out. He was in from day one. Man. He didn't claim profit on day one. When the project had a correction, like after the initial launch hype, he remained compounding. The project started growing, and like all the projects do, they reach all-time high. He's still compounding, and now the projects are doing better than ever, and he's a whale. And that's what happens for people that have a long-term perspective in crypto. If a project is fundamentally sound, if it has a development team that you trust and you believe in that will continue to develop and continue to innovate and build up the ecosystem, you need to be a long-term participant in the platform to seek benefit. Absolutely. And it's the people who are doing day-to-day trading that are the ones getting wrecked and the ones that are losing. Right. But anybody who has been a long-term participant in any of my projects has walked away or is still in the system with massive benefits, right? They're all in super deep profits. And to this day, they're all active participants. Even Stunner Breezy, he reached max payout on the faucet. What did he do? As soon as he reached max payout, he started a new one. Yeah, he started a new one. He started promoting the team. And because he realizes there's no better place to put your capital than in our ecosystem. Yeah. So,
and I'm with him, man. I've been in since February of last year or March, something like that. Right after it was pretty close to launch. It was around $3. I think it had already spiked. Drip had already spiked and came back down, and I bought wherever that $3-ish mark was, and I went for it just like Stunner Breezy. I kind of put a lot in, at that time for me. And I'm in major profit, man. I couldn't be more happy. I love the ecosystem, and I keep seeing other people have that same success story at $16, at $30, at $60, $80. These guys, everyone is still in profit, and if they've been compounding, it's even more. So everyone I brought in here, man, is just flat out astounded by the ecosystem, what you've created, obviously the technology, the community, the drip videos that are daily. I mean, if you don't get your daily dose of drip on YouTube, I don't know what you're doing.
I try to develop all my projects to remove as much speculation as possible, because speculative trading is where the majority of participants lose their money.
Oh, 100%.
So I always try to create protocols that remove as much speculative trading or the need for speculation as possible. This way, as long as you're a long-term holder with a long-term perspective, you're going to earn capital, you're going to earn yield, and you're going to be in profit. And that's people that recognize this are the people that are now whales in the system. Yeah. And Stunners, he's been in since day one on Reap, day one in Drip, day one in the Animal Farm, and he never stopped telling people. And I believe that opportunity to buy Drip at $3 like you did, on the initial correction, is the opportunity that people have right now in Dog and Pigs to get in before we have this explosive exponential growth. So it's an amazing, exciting time we're in right now for crypto as a whole, but specifically our ecosystem.
Well, I just appreciate you being here on my channel, bro. You could have picked anyone, and the fact that this happened was legendary for me. One of the few people in the space that I truly, truly admire. There are only a handful, and you are right there, brother. And I know a lot of people in here agree. Thank you for everyone tuning in, and that's pretty much it. I hope to see you in the Drinks and Crypto, man. We're gonna kick it back and talk about more metaverse, NFT, where the future's going. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. I would love to be a part of that. Thank you for having me on. I know you have a vast network in the space. So, people, when I said I was going on your channel, because there's another channel that I have planned that I'm going to be going on later in the week that has like 125,000 subscribers.
Yep.
And I mentioned that I'm going on a channel with 125,000 subscribers, and people were saying, oh, well, is this not that channel? And my answer to them is, I don't really care how many subs a channel has. What I care about is their engagement and their network. So you have one of the strongest networks out of anybody I've ever met in DeFi.
Thank you.
And I don't care if you have 2,000 subscribers or you have 100,000 subscribers. If those 2,000 subscribers are major players in the game, the people that are, making moves, that are shaping the space, those are the people I want to talk to. And those are the people that you have in your subscriber base. So you're speaking to you is important as speaking to anybody else. And I appreciate the opportunity so much.
I appreciate you, Forex. I look forward to having another sit down with you, brother. And you have an excellent rest of your Sunday. Go relax a little bit, bro. I know you're not sleeping, but actually this probably put you behind for the day, right? You're going to be working all night now.
I'm ready to go. I was working all night, so I just woke up like 20 minutes before we had the interview. I put out the first, I would call this a light paper because it doesn't have the contracts in it and all that stuff. Once we announce the launch date, we're going to get the contracts in here. We're going to get a little deeper into how the code works. So that'll be a more extensive white paper. But this is like a preliminary paper that gives people the basic rundown.
It looks great. I thought it looked great too. I just want to say, the actual layout, the characters and everything, I liked them. I like that way the pig looks too. It's cool.
Oh yeah, we have. I have a guy that does this for me, and it's funny. He can get creative. So when I had him, I wanted to release this yesterday, and I knew he would be finished with it yesterday. So I said I'm gonna release the white paper yesterday, and then he gives me the product yesterday, and he got a little too creative, right? It was like in the explanation, it was like multipliers, which are interacting with moon phases,
right.
and like Mayan calendars and stuff. Right. I was like, all right, I love what you're doing here. I love the creativity, but
the pig is swag. Like the pig is swagged out. I have one more question, and then I promise it's over. But the pig has like a monkey on it smoking a cigar, all right, and it's got like a wolf. Is that just because it's cool? Because it is cool, but I don't know if it doesn't mean anything, does it? There's no, there's not a wolf and a monkey token coming, is it?
It's definitely cool. Now, I don't see any more tokens coming to the animal farm, but it may be some foreshadowing to additional investment opportunities or contracts on the farm. That's for sure.
Whoa, okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you again, Forex, man. You have a great rest of your weekend. I look forward to connecting with you again. And thanks to everyone watching. Hopefully we answered as many questions as possible. I saw some early, so I just figured I wasn't trying to cut you off or anything. I saw some in here. I was like, it's a good one. I want to know that myself. So appreciate you, brother.
I can talk. You need to cut me off.
I know. So, I know you can talk, but it's good. We needed this. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
All right, bye.